Um, Now it's being an ass monkey yet again, isn't it? Okay, I'll throw this thing up against the wall. Yes. Yes, that is my goal, I believe, is to throw this thing up against the wall. It is showing that I am not here when I obviously am here. All right, we'll try this damn thing again. Okay, evidently there's a long freaking delay. All right, now that I've messed this whole damn thing up, I'll continue. Just saying. Greetings, Michigan lady. This will be my first vlog. You humans like to do vlogging. So every Sunday at the beginning of the week, I will come on and tell you about my week before because, well, I'm guessing your life is just really that uninteresting. Now, on the other hand, my life is too interesting and I don't have enough hours in the day. Now, I do have a lot of dead mice laying around because, well, these cats have been slaughtering them. Let's just be frank. I mean, the mice are not even standing a chance. I tell them to make little spears, yet they do not. Oh, God, one of these cats is going on me. Get away, cat, get away. That's because I'm in my dark lair. Now, you humans need to get, like, night vision goggles. It's not my fault that you humans cannot see in the dark. So, I am in my dark lair, in my dark castle, on my very tiny island. I know it's not the size of the island, it's what you do with it. Now, unfortunately, we do get mice on our island, and it requires us to have giant cats. Now, it does get rid of the mice, but when you're shrunk down real tiny and the cat grabs you, that really sucks. Now, the only thing you can do is grow back to your normal size, and then you got like a cat attached to you. And then, well, let's just put it this way. The SPCA would not be pleased because we dark elves, we look at things differently than you do. I mean completely. Where you worry about these things and moralisms, we just like to, well, go with it. I mean, we're always in a bad mood generally, and we always love to brutalize our peers. Now, fortunately, you humans do give us most of what we need. Now, we do kind of like live off of you, but you don't quite realize that. Now, it's like where I live here. I have an island in a pond. Now, to you, it's a tiny island. But if you shrink down tiny enough, it's like I've got my own little continent. You can ride around on the ants, you can fly around on the bees. But like I said, it kind of sucks when a cat sees you as a mouse. I mean, that's the only downside. And once again, I'm not really that fond of these creatures, but in this land, I have to live with them because if not, my partners would destroy me. Now, I have been fighting superheroes. Now, I'm not happy with these superheroes, and I keep getting beat by a bunch of girls. Now, this does not look good on Grimgoth, getting beat by a bunch of girls. Now, I am not going to put up with this anymore. Now, unfortunately for me, or fortunately, depending on how you look at this, my daughter has ran away this week. Yes, Grimgoth has run away. Now, Grimgoth is upset for me for many reasons. The first reason she's mad at me is because I named her Grimgoth. And I told her, how do you expect me to remember your name since I'm drunk most of the time? I mean, obviously, you're girl, I'm Grimgoth, so obviously you have to be Grimgoth. Now, once again, I did get a new kitty, and I named the kitty Catgoth. Now, this is for the same reason. So while I'm drunk, I will remember the cat's name. It's just like my daughter's name, just with cat on it. Now, Grimgoth did not see the humor in this either, but once again, I like to remember people's names. So, I mean, that's like name your kid something simple you can remember. Now, for some reason, you humans, you really put more importance on your children than we do. Now, generally, you look at children as somebody to take the arrow for us, but you humans do you. Now, I don't know if you really love your children or you fake it really well. Now, once again, I really did think that you loved your children, but then I saw Trishalicious on YouTube. And I mean, she should put a handle on that kid's back because she uses it as a shield so much. I mean, it would be much more ergonomic. But I did digress. Now, the reason why Grimgoth left is I created a golem to destroy those bitches that keep defeating me. So, what I did was I took Silly Putty. Now, it took us 3 days to open up 5,000 little packs of Silly Putty, but I finally got the materials to make my golem. Now, wizards in the past would make a golem out of clay. Well, I made one out of Silly Putty. That way it can like sling its arm out and hit you from like 25 feet away. Now, I did have this golem slap my daughter 5 or 6 times on a sensitive part. Her buttocks. I mean, she's my child, and if I wish to discipline her for absolutely no reason whatsoever, I mean, that is my right as a dark elf. I am her father. Well, Grimgoth got pissed off at that silly putty golem slapping her in the butt, so she's now taken off and sworn to join the superheroes. Now, I am hoping that these superheroes, well, I know I'm going to sound like a bad father, but I hope that they throw her in a hole. Yes, this is what I hope. I hope they throw her in a hole for about 10,000 years, and maybe she will learn to respect her father. Now, once again, you humans live your day-to-day life, but I have to live the life of a supervillain, and I have to raise a daughter. Now, my daughter says I don't really do much to raise her, but it's because I want her to be a strong, independent woman. And why would I have to do it when she's got a mother? I mean, Dark Elf society is ran by the females. You human women talk about the patriarchy. We Dark Elf men, we have to deal with the matriarchy. And our women are better at magic, and they can turn us into shit. Now, Grimgoth has not talked about this, but the reason why that Grimgoth is such a mighty dark elf is I deal less in the magic and in more of the just beating you the hell up. So that was one of my advantage. Well, the other dark elves are swinging their arms around and sparkling. I'm bashing them in the head with a club. Now, Grimgoth, when he was a young Grimgoth, he used to be a pirate. Now, you did not know this about Grimgoth. Lately in this last week, I have been daydreaming about my pirating days when I was a young dark elf. Now, most dark elves lived at that time under the earth. Now, I was not one of these. I lived in the sun, in the tropics, and I worked, well, on a pirate ship because I was a pirate, ipso facto. And I do miss that because looking at my daughter, I mean, she's spoiled. She has everything handed to her, literally her entire life. I mean, in reality, our dark elf kids are much more like yours. I mean, seriously, you just invert their colors and they're just, we could interchange them and we would never know. Seriously. But when I was young, we had to earn our keep. We had to rob, steal, and murder people for it. I mean, it was hard work, and you couldn't do it from a distance. You had to grab something sharp and do it up close. But I mean, now you just have these bank things and the stock market and it does all the robbing for you. I mean, I'm lazy as a dark elf, but I mean, if I want to rob you, I'm at least gonna pick up a club and say, "Give me your purse." Now, unfortunately, your banking system, they'll rob the entire country quick as they can, and then make up new rules to cover it all. I mean, if we dark elves, we really wish we had come up with that. But that's why we like you humans. This is why we hang out with you humans. It's because, to be honest, you're almost as bad as we are. It's just we're honest about it. You have this moralization thing where we do the exact opposite. We think, what wouldn't Jesus do? So, it's like when Grimgoth thinks about something, it's like, what wouldn't Jesus do? And then I try to go with that. Because once again, I would be ridiculed by my peers if I don't. Now, you may not know this, but Grimgoth is married. This is how the whole girl goth thing happened. Now, the amusing thing about that is my wife, despite being super intelligent, was stupid enough to say, "You name our daughter." Now, that was also a way of me fucking with her. She gave me her word that I could name our child. Now, I believe that she wished to have me name her after my mother, which was some big, flowery, dark elf name that, to be honest, I don't even damn remember my mother's name. But I do remember girl and I do remember goth. So the name had to be Girl Goth. Now, once again, my wife was very disappointed, and she's not talked to me since, well, like 1840, except to call me names. You see, I am an abused dark elf man. My wife calls me name, and this cat is saying words. "What do you want, cat? What do you want? Do you want to eat elves? Tasty elves?" I don't think she thinks elves taste good. Now, next time I do see an elf, I think I'm going to turn it into a mouse and let her take care of business. Because one, I'm lazy. Yes, I think I'll do that. Because you see, I still don't get along with elves. Now, there's still a few of them out there, but you guys mostly bred the elves out of existence. Now, I did help with some love spells, and once upon a time, I did transform myself into a drunk little winged baby, and I did used to go around and shoot people with love arrows. Why? Because, I mean, do you think trolling started with you humans in the internet? I mean, just imagine if you had magical powers. I mean, we dark elves are the original trolls. I mean, even the trolls weren't the trolls. I mean, we dark elves have been doing this for a long time. We picked most of your presidents. Most of them were nothing but Fantasyland monsters. And we decided to go ahead and start letting you pick your presidents, and then you pick Biden. Now, we are now regretting that we showed you mercy. I'm serious. I mean, the next time I think we're going to pick your president again, it's just we're going to lie to you, and we're going to say that we didn't. Just saying. I mean, it's like, couldn't you actually look at Obama and Bush and both tell that those aren't really people, that there's some fairy changeling that we left in a crib? I mean, seriously, they don't even look like people. And Nixon, I told him, like, the humans are going to bust us on this one. I mean, just take a look at Nixon. He don't even look like a human. He looks like some fucked up fairy creature that's got a fucking circular family tree. And you guys fell for that. And at that point, I really believe that you guys could fall for anything. When you guys made the internet, this proved it. I mean, I think that the internet was nothing more than an attempt to make your race dumber. Once upon a time, you read books. You played chess. I mean, you would do things of strategy. I mean, you could actually be a threat to us. We would actually have to hide. But at this point, all we got to do is hand you a colored piece of plastic that's in a square shape, and I mean, we're going to rule the earth. Now, once again, there are things going on that you do not understand. The apocalypse. Now, while you're busy dealing with your life, I am busy helping bring back the apocalypse. I mean, everybody has been screaming apocalypse for so fucking long, Grimgoth is just sick of it. So I said, all right, humans, you want an apocalypse, we'll give you an apocalypse. So I found Alfarius Kane, War, Horseman of the Apocalypse. I found Thanatos. He is death himself. And these are two of my partners. Now, we are going to create, the apocalypse. And we have been here in the dark room, creating this apocalypse. And these heroes are getting on my damn nerves. Now, Alfarius is very depressed, and I have been dealing with him this week because he decided, about a year ago, that he would get into Putin's mind and have him invade Ukraine and start World War III. Now, unfortunately, all the military analysts said that Russia was the second most powerful army on earth. This turned out not to be true. And Alfarius is depressed because the Russians basically ruined the apocalypse. I mean, they're supposed to surge through Europe, and then NATO was supposed to attack them back, and it was supposed to be a giant battle, but I mean, they can't get past a bunch of grain farmers and some secondhand equipment. So, once again, he's been planning this for the entire length of the Cold War. So you kind of got a feel for him. I mean, World War II ended, Alfarius started to try to create World War III. So, I mean, he's been doing this for over 75 years. And this is what the Russians do. They just roll over to a bunch of grain farmers with a bunch of equipment from the American dollar store. Hello, Buttercup. I'm in my dark lair, and you humans just really can't see well. Unfortunately, but all I can say is you might need to get some night vision goggles. Because you see, we dark elves, we can see in the dark. Hence dark elf. So we don't actually have lights at our house. I mean, they don't do nothing but hurt our eyes. It's like when I go outside or I go into human dwellings, I mean, it's just way too damn bright. Grimgoth has to wear shades. So yes, I would show you around my castle, but you can't see in the dark. Just saying. No. One of these days, perhaps one of you will be able to see in the dark, and then I will show them around. But if they can, then they're a Fantasyland monster, and you had better get your pitchforks and your torch and destroy them. Now, what are you doing, evil cat? What? You're crying? You're whining. This cat thinks Grimgoth is a doorman. So Grimgoth's going to have to get off his throne and let this cat out of my lair. Cat. Ah, shit. It's the Richella. Talk about out of the frying pan and into the fire. I went from mouse catching cat to cat that's nothing in the damn way. And speaking of cat nothing in the way, there it is already. Now, I do have a new kitty named Catgoth, and now I am making a bunch of shorts. Now, one thing that Grimgoth is trying to do on his channel is to make about 2 shorts a day. And this is what I have started doing this week. And we're ending up getting new friends on the Grimgoth Dark Elf channel. Now, someone did unsubscribe during this, so I am going to have to now cast a spell on him and turn him into a lower life form to be eaten by Autumn the kitty. Because anyone that unsubscribes from the Grimgoth the Dark Elf channel is going to be turned into something that will be cat food. Because, I mean, how do you think we feed the cats here? Now, I'm going to try to have, short vlogs every week, something for you to listen to and enlighten you so you can understand all the problems I have. I mean, you think you humans have problems? I mean, I don't even know how damn old I am. I mean, I'm old enough, I don't even like myself. I mean, at this point, it just agitates me to even think I'm so old. Now, in all honesty, Grimgoth's a damn old dark elf. You don't actually see it, but Grimgoth is heavily deteriorated, and he is not the dark elf that he once was. No, he is not. Now, I used to be a young, handsome dark elf, and my wife is one of the most powerful dark elves that has ever lived, honestly. And this is also why I don't piss her off. That's kind of like rule number 1. We do not piss her off. Now, her name is Alexandra. Now, I almost said sweet, but I was probably going to choke on myself laughing. Yes, she's not sweet. Yes, my wife, Alexandra, she is not sweet. Now, she does have many, many powerful magical devices. Now, I have stolen her crystal ball. Now, she does not know this, and I have been seeing in the future. Now, Cyanide Cupcake is talking to Thanatos' ex-girlfriend, the Dominatrix. Now, there is going to be a cease and desist letter delivered here to the Dark Grove telling us to cease and desist. Now, Thanatos already has 2 cease and desist letters from this same woman. But now, supposedly, I am going to be served with a 3rd cease and desist letter in the last year and a half, because I am going to turn myself into Roger Brown, and I am going to be there to receive this letter. And then whoever gives it to me, I'm going to turn them into something and let the cat eat them. Now, once again, there will be no proof of that in the law, because there is no law against turning people into things. Now, this is what Grimgoth likes. Now, there is no law against polymorphing. I can polymorph a human into a mouse, and if the cat eats that mouse, it's absolutely nothing on me. Well, we do have an elf princess that kind of hides in the woods, or I think she calls herself a queen, but she lives alone, so to hell with her. Like I said, there are far more dark elves now than there are elves. There's actually more big feet than there are elves. Just saying. And you guys see them all the time. No, in reality, the only reason why we actually let there be a few elves running around is just so we can point at them and laugh. And that's so we can have our dark elf superiority, because that way we tell them we won. That is the only reason why we did not completely wipe the elves out, is so that the few that's left, we can look at them every day and say, we won. Yes. And that's what we do. Many times we teleport to where they're living, and we dance around in the circle and go, we win, we win, we win. And then we point to you and call you our children. Now, Normally, we don't call you our children because we don't really like you that much. But, we don't really like our children either. So, at least it fits. But to annoy the elves, we do call you our children. And as I did mention, you are the race that is most like us. And you also didn't do magic. Because once again, it's much more funner to turn someone into something than to be turned into something. No. We will talk about this elf on another day, but she's usually a bitch in the spring. Now, once again, how it's like, animals have their phases. This elf bitch is I gotta be nice on this channel, but she's not a nice person in the spring. Now, maybe it's because all winter she's freezing her leaves off. So that could be it. So I am kind of happy that she's freezing her leaves off right now, living in her treehouse. And what are you doing, Summer? And Summer's here to knock everything off. Now, Summer is the perfect dark elf kitty. Really, her and Richella, they act like dark elves. They hate the other animals. They attack them wherever they can. They pretend they're sweet as can be, and they're really a bunch of asses. And this cat's getting hair all over me. Just saying. Now, as I mentioned, I've spent most of my week creating this golem to destroy my enemies, so there really was not much. Now, this next week, why is this cat in my face? And it's got like a wet nose. This cat is torturing me. I'll talk. What do you want? All right. Grimgoth has now cast a speak with animal spell. And this cat has told me what she wants. She wants a can of wet food. She already had her wet food today. I saw Thanatos give her the wet food. I also saw her eat hard food today. But it is now near bedtime for the kitty, and it is asking me for wet food. In fact, it is demanding that I give this cat wet food. Now, anybody want a cat? Oh, God, it's drooling all over me. Humanity. Now, that's irony that a dark elf is screaming for humanity because a cat is busy drooling all over him. Now, once you see, I don't like monster drool. I've been drooled on by a dragon. Once you're drooled on by a dragon and you're covered in this shit, it kind of turns you against drool, but that's another story of Grimgoth's life. Now, it's worse when the dragon is undead. But once again, that is another story of Grimgoth's life. This thing is eating my face. Now, as I said, Grimgoth created a silly putty golem to destroy my enemies, and Girl Goth has run away, my daughter. Now, see, you humans, you would be really worried that your daughter has run off, but that's how dark elf children leave the nest. They don't get jobs. They just kind of sit around your house for 4,000 or 5,000 years until they get pissed off at you and leave. Now, I'm happy that she's gone. Now, I do sort of kind of like my daughter. She is my genetic legacy. Oh, God, she's my genetic legacy. She's spoiled. She's entitled. She acts like a princess. She's everything that, a dark elf should be. It's just, to be honest, she's got no backbone. She's a coward. My wife will look at an entire army and she'll just flat out start turning people into shit left and right. I mean, she'll start turning people into rampaging monsters. She'll start casting spells and people suffocate because they find they have no face. And I mean, she'll just lay waste to an entire field of human beings with swords running at her. But I mean, they say the pen's mightier than the sword. I do not believe that. But if you ran at my daughter with a crayon, she would probably run away. So, once again, she has absolutely no intestinal fortitude. She gets on my nerves. Now, this cat thing is getting on my nerves too, but, well, at least I have a bath now. Yes, this cat has now drooled on me enough to where I can bathe. I'm looking into green eyes, and I'm wondering if she's going to eat me. Just a moment, I have to grow back to regular size. I don't feel like being cat food. Right? Okay, there you go. I'm back to normal size, and now this cat's in my lap. Now, this next week, I'm going to try to make another minion to destroy my enemies. Now, my enemies have kind of pissed me off. They've whipped Alfarius and I 3 times. Now, we're also planning to go and attack the CERN Super Collider. Now, I'm not going to tell you why, because, well, it's stupid. Just saying. But we've decided that just in case, this collider has to go. So that will be what I'm going to do next. I'll be taking a trip to Europe and with a bunch of friends, and we'll be going and visiting a bunch of scientists and busting up their shit. So that is my plan for the coming couple weeks. Now, once again, I have to create a couple more minions to do this with, because at some point, we might be fighting the European military. Well, hopefully they won't do any better than the Russian military, but obviously we would prefer to fight the Russians because, I mean, at this point, the Girl Scouts could. I mean, I kind of thought about fucking with my partner and like making a bunch of superhuman Girl Scouts and just having them clear Ukraine of Russians and telling him start over. But I do feel sorry for the guy. Despite being a horseman of the apocalypse, he can be kind of sensitive. Now, one of the other things that has upset him is these superheroes that we've been fighting. Well, they killed famine. I mean, there's 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. One of them killed famine. Now, none of us ever liked famine, and we're going to have to resurrect famine. And this is on my to-do list. Now, unfortunately, the government has caught plague. And I'm not talking about the sea shit. I'm talking about the horsemen of the apocalypse. So, unfortunately, we have to attack the CERN Collider, we have to resurrect famine, and we have to free plague from government custody. So, all of these are on Grimgoth's to-do list. Now, freeing plague from government custody, that will be the entertaining part because, I mean, it's been a very challenging month and Grimgoth has had me very upset. So I'd kind of like to, instead of just turn people into things, just blast the living hell out of them. Just saying. So, that is coming up. Now, once again, I do wonder what the government will do while plague is in government custody. I mean, plague is like every disease. So, I kind of think that, your bioweapons division is probably going to get a boost. Now, they're not going to tell you this, but if I can, I will destroy the entire laboratory, all the research, and, well, the scientists inside, well, they're going to be cat food. Also, just saying, I got to keep this YouTube friendly, so I will be turning my enemies into mice, and I will be feeding my enemies to the kitties. Now, as I said, my partner Alfarius, who is War, has been very upset. One of his brothers has been killed, and another one has been captured, and the other one doesn't pay him enough attention. I mean, despite being War, he's very sensitive. Now, there's a thing that you don't understand about War. He's insane. Now, it's not his fault. You see, to be the horseman of the apocalypse, you have to be insane if you're War. It goes with basically, when you get the mask that makes you War, well, it also makes you crazy. Because War, they say, is the definition of insanity. And this is why my partner's insane. So normally I would cast a spell to heal his mind so my partner would not be insane. But by the very definition of his superpowers, Alfarius is insane. Now, the other thing that's making him really depressed is his shorts are getting no views. I mean, they're good quality shorts, but they're not getting the views. I mean, I put on a mask and said, "It is I, Grimgoth," and I got 1,200 fucking views. And it's eating him up because, Alfarius, he'll put on a good short and he'll maybe get 40 or 50 views if he's lucky. And Grimgoth can kind of just hold up a kitty and get hundreds. So, he's upset about that. So this coming week, I'm going to try to make him feel better. And maybe we'll get some superheroes and do something horrible to them. Maybe a death trap. Yes, that's it. Maybe a death trap. Yes. I know. He's War. Maybe I'll cast a mind control spell and I'll make the superheroes fight each other. Yeah, I kind of like that. Yes, I think that I will do that. I need something to cheer Alfarius up, and once again, friends fighting friends. Yes, that could cheer him up. It'd be like a war, and War always cheers War up. So yes, that's what I think I do when we'll face them. I will take over one of their minds. Now, the question is do I do it with a mind control spell or do I use possession? Now, possession is fun, but they usually need to get a shower after I'm done possessing them. Just saying, especially if it's a girl. We won't get into that because it's rather undignified. But now, possession is harder to do than mind control. I know, weird, isn't it? But possession is fun because you actually get to run around in their body. Now, as I said, that is very fun for various reasons, especially if they're cute and it's of the other sex. As I said, they usually feel the need to shower afterward. But it's much harder to control people that way. It's much better to just cast the mental influence spell and have them go about like your berserk little minion, pissing off everyone and, well, destroying all the shit that you can't. So, once again, I hope to make another minion or two and possibly confront these superheroes. Now, we do have another power, or a powerful friend that we found, but, well, he stays in the South because he's a lizard. Now, he does not like it in here in Kentucky during the winter because it's freezing. So he's down in the Florida Keys eating people. Also just saying, and he's a giant lizard man from the past with a magic sword, and we're all going to get together and we're going to free Plague. Now, Plague is not much of a talker, and he's got some really bad friends, and his friends usually ooze and kind of ruin the carpet. Now, you see, this is one reason why we Dark Elves, we prefer stone floors. Because many of our minions or our friends, they're kind of messy or oozy. So you need a kind of like a surface that you can easily clean. So this is why we dark elves like to go with a tiny traditional castle. Because once again, because many of our friends and minions are, just face it, they're damn oozy. It's much, much easier to clean. Now, I am going to go off and right now and do my thing because it's 10 o'clock here in Kentucky. Because you see, I'm a dark elf. We live at dark. I am starting my day, where you have already had your Sunday. This is my Sunday morning, and it's the beginning of the week. So every Sunday at the beginning of my week, which is your dark on Sunday, I will be back with another vlog where I will tell you of my comedic adventures during the week and my dark and insidious plans. Now, before I go, we will let you say hello to the dark evil Richella. Say hello, dark evil Richella. Now, I am Thanatos. I am leader. And this is the dark evil Richella. For those people that don't know the other channel. Now, the dark evil Richella is going to start being in Grimgoth vids. And she's already been in a short. Now, if anyone's wondering what kitty is in that short, that's Richella. That's Richella looking like Grimgoth. And she's hanging out, and Autumn was she's caught a few mice in here today. I got a couple, Grimgoth wasn't joking. Just from this evening, I've got 2 mice bodies in here I have to throw out after I hit this off. And so she killed a couple mice in here and then wanted out of the room. So she's a good kitty. Now, it's been kind of cold here today, and I didn't get much done for me on the vlog side. I think that's what I'll do is I'll do the Grimgoth comedy vlog, and then I'll talk about myself. And I've done nothing today. Now, it's only got up to about 50 here, and it's down to freezing. Now, I do plan on cleaning up in the morning and having a live stream on my regular channel where I will talk drama and other bullshit. And if Ernie has a live in the middle of the night, I might cover it on the drama channel, just to let you guys know. I wasn't going to cover him now, but it does look like he's had a heart catheter because I thought he had injuries. He has an injury on his arm, and I thought the one on his neck was related to that. But no, that's a medical procedure. And usually when they go in your neck, it's heart related or they're pumping up a vein that's blown out or something. So I'm not sure what's wrong with Ernie. And you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that Ernie might have been in the psych ward for 72 hours. And then he went someplace else and got himself put in the hospital. And he might have been coming back towards Kentucky and gotten to Philadelphia and got beat up. Because, I used to have to go to Philadelphia. And it can be pretty rough. And Ernie's a smaller guy. Yeah, Buttercup. But yes, his neck, now, from watching his last live, that was a medical procedure. So I am earlier I said I thought he got beat up by the cops. I'm not so sure of that now because I was linking the arm and the neck together. But now that I know that the neck's the arm could be completely unrelated to police. So I don't know. But that's what I'm going to try to figure out a little bit. And like I said, if Ernie does a live after about everyone's going to bed now. Now, I will recharge these devices. And if he goes live after midnight and I'm awake, I will pick it up. Because the days are getting longer now. So I'm staying up later and I'm getting up when the sun comes up. Now, I'm going to get off here, but every week we're going to have a comedy vlog with Grimgoth. Yeah, Buttercup, they do. But there's also, I don't know, there is a procedure because I've got a friend with a heart issue. And you are right. They do normally go through the groin, but they did something with his neck one time. And I don't remember what it was because it was one of these idle conversations. But I do remember my friend said that for some reason one time they did something through his neck. And I think that this could be the same thing, but I don't remember what it is. That's my kicker. But yeah, you're right. I know they usually go through, but once again, my friend with bad heart trouble, and that he will die from, by the way. But one of the times they said he went through his neck, and I'm going to ask him, what did they do when they went through your neck? I don't know, Kensugi. I don't know. But I do remember that my friend with the bad heart condition said at one of his, when he was having problems, one of the times they did go through his neck and it was right there because I saw the mark on his neck. You know, it was mostly healed. But, you know, I saw, and it was in the same place. So I'm going to ask him, what did they do to his neck that time? Because I don't know. He could just been complaining with symptoms. But in reality, it's opened up a lot of speculation now because I don't think at this point now he was attacked by the cops. You know, once again, you know, that little live I had this morning, I had to go with what the evidence was showing me at the time. But the evidence now is showing me that I do not think he was attacked by the cops. But that's what, you know, if he goes live again, that's what I intend on talking about on the drama channel. Now I'm going to get off here so I can charge these up. So if he does come on, I will cover it as long as I'm awake. And right now I'm pretty awake. So I'll probably be up to about 1 a.m. And then if he comes on about by that time, I should be there to cover it. Now, everyone, thank you for coming to the first Grimgoth comedy vlog. And we will have these every Sunday. And everybody have a good night and take care, Buttercup. And I do want to thank you especially because, I mean, you have helped me out so much. But I'm going to do that on the regular channel. I just wanted to say an extra thank you again. Now, everyone, thank you for coming and have a very good night.